Welcome to Heath Riles BBQ. Today we're cooking up hot, cheery buffalo bite ribs. I hope you're ready because they're gonna be good. The first thing that we want to do is go ahead and get our Prairie Fresh Prime baby back ribs out of the pack here before we get them seasoned. So I'm gonna get them off, get them cut down into single bones. But before I do that, I want to be sure I remove the membrane off the back of the rib. So let's get it open and get them cut down. Now remember, baby backs are easy to skin when you run your finger up under them on the curve of the bone. When you go all the way through and you can pick your rib up, just place your hand in and pull, and everything is going to come off. Now remember, baby backs are easy to do that way, but spare ribs can be a little tricky sometimes, so you may have to go back and grab another bite with a paper towel. Now, once we've got the membrane skinned down, I do have a good pocket of fat right here on top. I'm gonna knock just a little bit of that off. I mean, not much. Now, once I got that trimmed down, let me dispose of all this, and we're gonna get our rib cut down into single bone portions. You want to go in between the meat and the bone, in between each one, and just cut them down to where you got a single rib bone. Now remember, you want to be careful holding on to this rib with your hand while you're cutting it. So be very careful while you're doing this. Now, we've got all our ribs already cut away from each other, disconnected. Let's get our bowl over here. I'm gonna wash my hands and get gloved up. You can see I've transferred all this to a glass bowl as I was cutting them. I wanna go ahead now and get some of my good buddy Malcolm Reed's Killer Hogs hot sauce dashed on these ribs for a binder. And then I'm gonna get them seasoned up in, yes, beef rub and a little bit of cherry rub. Now, these ribs are gonna have a unique flavor profile, especially with the sauce that we're gonna make. It should turn out phenomenal. Let's get some hot sauce on here and get them coated. Looks like I'm gonna have to go visit Malcolm. I'm out of hot sauce. Ooh, I wish you guys could smell this hot sauce on these ribs. Now, you can let this marinate if you want to in your fridge. It doesn't really matter. Of course, it's gonna impart a little more flavor. Now, I will tell you, I'm gonna take my sheet pan here, and I'm gonna take these ribs back out of the bowl and kind of lay them out, because I'm gonna turn them all over and try to get them seasoned just like I would a whole rack and keep it a little more easier. I think it'd make a little mess if I go to dumping a whole lot of seasoning in this bowl. As you can see, this beef rub put a nice peppery layer down these back of these ribs. I'm gonna come back now with a little bit of my cherry rub. This is gonna be a unique flavor profile, a little bit different than anything else that we've cooked. Now, get a little bit of cherry rub on it. Let's turn them over and repeat the process. You can see that we've got all our ribs seasoned up with our beef and our cherry rub. We put a little bit of light layer on there. We're gonna go ahead and get them over on our Golden's cast iron pit. We've got it running at about 300 degrees right now. We're just gonna space these ribs out. We've got the heat diverter in. We're gonna let them cook till they get a nice little bit of bone pull back. Then we're gonna throw them in a pan, wrap them up to get them tender, pull them out, glaze them, sear them off, and they're gonna be delicious. Let's get over to the grill. All right, we've got our Golden's cast iron grill fired up. We've got our heat diverter in. I'm gonna go ahead and get our hot, cheery buffalo ribs on the grill. And you can see I just want to space them around. That heat diverter's in here. Get them laid around. All right. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells incredible. Let's go ahead and get our grill lid shut and let them get to cooking. All right, we want to get in here. It's been about 35 minutes. Our rib bites are going to need turned over, and the color is incredible on these things. Oh, yeah. Look at that. A little bit of char. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Perfect. See that little bit of crisp on there? Now, once we put these in a pan, that little bit of char is going to come undone. and they're gonna loosen up and get tender just where they need to be. The char and the crisp on these ribs, you can see they've got black depending on the bone side, if the bone's closer or more meat. Don't pay any attention to that on this recipe. It's all gonna be fine, because once we put them in our pan, put some butter and all that kind of stuff in there with them to get them tender, to loosen up, all that's gonna be fine anyway when we grill them off. All right, we've got our ribs in here. You see I got them piled up where I went and grabbed a pan. They've been on about an hour. And just look, they've got a little bit of char on them. They're pulled back away from the bone. I mean, that's just what I'm looking for. I want to get them in my pan here, and let's get some vinegar sauce and some butter on them where we can get these things tender. Our hot cherry buffalo ribs are time to wrap. They've been on a little over an hour, like I said. First thing that we want to do is get a bottle of Tangy vinegar sauce. Remember, this was 1 slab of ribs. So I'm going to pour a bottle of vinegar sauce over this. Remember, this may seem like a lot of sauce, but we're going to take and dunk these back in it to kind of char them up on the grill too once I get done. I want to do this to get tender. Oh, yeah. Now, once you do that, get a whole bottle of vinegar sauce over these. I'm going to take, and I've cut about a half a stick of butter into some pads. Just lay it up here on it. Now, I'm going to get this thing wrapped up right here. Get it back on my Golden's cast iron cooker, and I'm going to let them go about 30 to 40 minutes before I check them. They should be starting to get tender where they need to be, and we'll judge from there whether we need to pull them or let them go a little bit longer. Oh, these things smell incredible. Let's get them back over to the cooker. All right, our hot cherry buffalo ribs have been on the grill a little over 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and get them off now. They're wrapped up. They're tender where they need to be. You can see cutting ribs down into single bones and smoking them for a while and then putting them in a pan to get tender does not take very long. So let's get them off the grill and get them back over here to the cutting board. All right, our hot cherry buffalo bite ribs are off of the grill. I'm going to go ahead and take this foil off. As you can see, oh, you should smell this, guys. It smells so good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get them out of here. You can see those ribs are tender. They're glazed up. Now, here's the biggest thing you can do. You can take these ribs now and you can eat them, put them on a plate like I'm going to do. If you want them to turn them into more of a buffalo rib, like a buffalo wing, now's the time to take them out of this, douse them in a little bit of buffalo wing sauce or a little bit more of Killer Hogs hot sauce if you want more of a hot sauce taste. Return them to your grill and kind of get a little char on them. For me, they're right where they want to be for me. I want to leave them alone because they're going to tack up. They're going to be kind of sticky. I'm going to leave them just like this. So let's get them stacked on this plate where they can dry off. All right, guys, just to recap, we've got our hot cherry buffalo ribs off of our golden cast iron cooker. We started by taking a slab of Prairie Fresh Prime baby back ribs, cutting them down into single bones. We seasoned them up with a little bit of Killer Hogs hot sauce first, tossed them around in it. Then we come back with a little bit of beef rub and a little bit of cherry rub. We then put them on our Golden's cast iron with a heat diverter in place over roll oak charcoal, cooked them for about 35 minutes, flipped them, cooked them about another 25 to 30 minutes. Then we wrapped them up with about a half a stick of butter and a bottle of my vinegar sauce. After that, we let it go for, like I said, about 45, 50 more minutes. These ribs are tender, and there's only one thing left to do. Get in here and try some. So I'm going to pick one of these up, and you can see the meat's wanting to come off the bone already. Probably wearing this. That's a killer rib. It's got a hint of cherry. That vinegar sauce kicks it up. That velvety feel from that butter. That beef rub with those black pepper notes. It's great. Remember, this is a recipe that is simple. It's easy. Anybody can do it. You can change up your rub flavors. You can change up your combinations. Please make it your own. This is a simple, easy recipe. If you like what we're doing on our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along with your friends. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video.